I sat down to plan this lesson, I knew that I wanted to have 3 parts to it. One of them would be whole group close looking. Another part would be what I call cross-pollination of ideas, where we get to share and build together. And then I also needed to see the individualized version of their thinking. So those 3 levels were crucial. So we started with the whole group close looking. So we had this collective, low-risk learning opportunity. And that was the springboard for us to then get into cross-pollinating the ideas, where we broke up into the small groups. And it's something that I've really noticed is that kids either like to plagiarize a lot, or they're so scared of plagiarizing that they just don't want to even listen to each other. And so that's when I developed this idea, like, okay, let's just say grab an idea or star an idea that you like, just to kind of get the inspiration and the connectivity going. Listening to the thinking of others in your group, and listen with the intention of grabbing one of their ideas that you find especially important, interesting, or significant, or anything else. It's been crucial to the kids feeling confident as thinkers. It's been crucial to the kids feeling like accountable listeners. They're not just talking to me. Like, we're a learning community. It's not just teacher, student parroting back and forth. They need to be included, and they're accountable for it. And it benefits them because they grab an idea they love and they make it their own. Invite the kids to help you make sense of the thinking that's happening. Ask them how it went. Ask them how this shifted their thinking. Reflect with them, because that's going to help you understand the shift that's happening in the classroom. And a shift happens as soon as you ask kids to look at artwork with you, because you're a part of the experience too. They're engaged. Some are hesitant, but that's okay, because that's still a form of being engaged. And you're listening not for the answer you want the kid to be parroting to you. You're listening to them. You're listening to what they have to say. And that's something that I think a lot of us forget doesn't happen a lot in a lot of people's lives, not even just our kids. And then they listen to you. It's kind of crazy. And then they start listening to each other. Making a space in your classroom to honor the voice of the child and the thoughts of the child is crucial for learning. It's crucial for the children's identities as learners. Because if we're not making sure that they're engaging in their own learning, they're not learning. They might not even identify as a learner because they'll feel sidelined. Another really crucial part was having them do some pre-writing, just jot down low risk, just first ideas to bring into that space. Because I've noticed that some kids, dominate the conversation or don't engage as they should. And having something, just the beginning of something, like a little nugget of thinking, kind of breaks the ice. It's like, oh, I can do this, I've got it right here. As I ask the questions, I simply want you to jot down the beginnings of your thinking. Okay? And it can be something that is built off of what we heard and shared together, or it can be something that you're thinking about now that hasn't been shared yet. So after sharing and building ideas together, I still really needed to hold the individual students accountable to their thinking and to their understanding. Because all in all, this was also kind of a formative assessment so that I could see where the kids are in their learning goals. I also chose to have the option of storyboard sketching or writing out to accommodate my English language learners who are usually way more comfortable sketching. Using artful thinking in the classroom is a beautiful first step, but then you have to, as the teacher, look at that artful thinking. Otherwise, why did it happen? And that artful thinking then informs what happens next in the classroom. And that could be next in real time during the 45 minutes that you have the kids, or it could be next tomorrow, or next as like a project that could be an assessment. But I always have to remember to slow down and look at their thinking, like look intentionally at their thinking. Otherwise, they're going to know that I wasted their time. And they're not going to, that will send a message of this isn't important, but it's very important.